Welcome back to our special here on the First TV. Who is Gavin Newsom? Susan Crabtree is here. She's the author of Fool's Gold, the radicals, con artists, and traitors who killed the California dream and now threaten us all. Susan Crabtree. How are you, Susan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Let's build to Gavin Newsom. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a lot. What was the California dream?
Well, I grew up in the 1980s in California, and we were middle class, unlike some other Californians who claim that. My dad was in the Air Force, career Air Force, and my mom was a school teacher. And I felt like I had a wonderful life here. It was the era of Reagan. There was no wars going on, and California was a great place to aspire to the American dream. We Honestly, there was aerospace, a huge aerospace contingent here. There was a lot of business that still remained in California. Silicon Valley was just emerging to the north, and there was a lot of opportunities. But that started spiraling downward with the rise of the supermajority in the legislature and San Francisco controlling the entire dynamic. We used to have different Republicans coming up through the ranks in San Diego and other places that were more conservative in the state. But San Francisco quickly became the hotbed and the political center of California and started exporting all of its policies, its far left policies across the state, and now is doing so across the nation.
I just want to emphasize again that California used to be a vibrant, clean, well-governed, like we're going to build infrastructure. It's going to be great. We're going to build a California state school system, university system. We're going to build power plants. We're going to build highways. We're going to build dams. We're going to have a unique, beautiful culture that California had. It used to be its own beautiful thing. And now it's just a mess. So you sort of got into the turn. What would you say was the turn? Was it a location, an idea, a person? What happened?
I think the power center started out of San Francisco with you had Nancy Pelosi, Willie Brown controlling the state legislature. You couple that with some of the amnesty problems and policies of Ronald Reagan, unfortunately, and all of a sudden you had an influx of new Democratic voters into the state who are here, and the policies, just the center of power, became San Francisco with Willie Brown obviously mentoring both Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, and these powerful families that controlled San Francisco were backing them with their money, including the Pritzkers, including the Gettys, and they mentored these people to come up through the ranks. And Jerry Brown was part of that too. Jerry Brown's father and the Gettys that mentored Gavin Newsom and Newsom's father all went to San Ignatius in San Francisco. And so his support, the Getty support for Gavin Newsom, that's how he rose through the ranks. And he was given everything on a silver platter and didn't feel like he had to earn it. He was just placating to basically the far left when he became mayor of San Francisco, coming up through the ranks. He was first the traffic commissioner. That was how he first got his start by Willie Brown appointing him. And then to the county board, he took a slot with Willie Brown's support, who was basically the political kingmaker in the state legislature first. And when he was term limited out of that, he became mayor. And then when he was term limited out of that, he basically tapped Gavin Newsom to come in after him. And so Gavin Newsom was the first person who supported gay marriage. And so he knew who his contingency is, his basically the supporters were in San Francisco, and he catered to them, but he didn't do anything to really fix the problems of the city. He kept saying he was going to fix homelessness. If I had a dime for every time Gavin Newsom claimed to fix homelessness, I'd be a very rich person. He kept doing that over and over and over again. And unfortunately, he was following housing first policies. And as you know, those are failed policies. It's really a mental and addiction problem. And he's starting to turn that around recently, but he's still pouring money, 24 billion in unaccounted money that we've just, taxpayer dollars that we've just squandered on trying to fix homelessness when homelessness has increased about 30% during Gavin Newsom's time in office and as governor.
John Phillips, who just talked to, he said that Gavin Newsom's inauthentic. I think we all see that. Most people do. But I guess the other part of that is therefore he doesn't really believe anything, which is maybe different than, well, it is different than an ideologue. So which do you think he is?
Oh, I think he's just a power hungry political animal that was given everything on a silver platter. You had, even from the time when he got into college, he likes to say that he got into college, as we expose in the book, on a baseball scholarship and has said it was his baseball prowess that he even credits for him becoming governor for his political career. But when you break it down, there were other people on the baseball team who said, I don't even remember Gavin Newsom ever serving on the team. He never appears in the roster. So what happened was one of the big financiers or alumni of the school, Santa Clara, which is a very good, very reputable liberal arts school that caters to Silicon Valley now. He one of his father's, Gavin Newsom's father's friends in San Francisco recommended that he get on the baseball team. He was in high school, did play baseball. And so he was recruited for that, but he never made it to the varsity. He only was a JV player and didn't even have a uniform. This was kind of like they played the other community colleges. So he's not being honest about that. It's a bit of, sort of stolen athletic valor, but yet no one's ever called him on it. But his the teammates who don't remember him, I talked to them and his former coach, and to get the true story about that. And he forgets to mention often that Jerry Brown, the former governor, who was also friends with his father, uh, provided a letter of recommendation a year after he left office the first time he was governor, Jerry Brown. So that just gives you sort of a little insight into how he came up in the world. It was all of his father's connections, even his aunt by marriage is Nancy Pelosi. So then he had the Getty money backing him. His father was very, very good friends with Gordon Getty, best friends with Gordon Getty, who basically inherited the family fortune, which is an oil family fortune. And that's how Gavin Newsom got his start in the wine business. He was given, basically, handed all of this on a silver platter. So he basically is just performative. He he thinks he can podcast his way to the presidency without performing because he never had to perform. Getting into college, he
Mm.
was given that despite his SAT scores not being up to snuff, and he's very honest about that. Uh, but also his businesses and his wealth was handed to him. So, this is who he is. He now is trying to distract with this whole redistricting initiative because the people in California were extremely upset with his record on crime and sanctuary city policies and homelessness. And they actually voted in a crackdown on crime last year for to remove the Proposition 47, which he was instrumental. He was one of the first elected
Mm.
officials to back Proposition 47, which reduced felonies to misdemeanors and caused that whole basically the smash and grab epidemic in California and led to other crime sprees. He was responsible for that. And so last year, by record numbers, 70% across the state, they supported a crackdown on crime, which then he and the Democrats in the supermajority in the legislature did not fund. He's now funding
Mm.
$250 million for this redistricting effort. That money could have gone to putting in to solve this crime problem that California has suffered from. He says he wants to have the will of the voters decide about redistricting. They already decided their priorities, but that's not where the money's going.
That's a great point. I got about 1 minute. What is the number one thing you think the people of America need to know about Gavin Newsom? And do you think he'll go far in the Democratic presidential process?
Well, I think that he doesn't think he has to do anything about the fires. He's just a performative politician. We expose his ties to China, and that he got his wine business into China, and while bringing Chinese businesses into California. I think that is going to really hurt him as he tries to run for president in 2028. I don't think that's going to sell in middle America. And I think that's one thing that we really expose in the book that people don't know about him.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Fool's Gold. The radicals, con artists, traitors who killed the California dream now threaten us all. Let's go read this and make sure we know everything about Gavin Newsom that we need to know. Susan Crabtree is the author. Susan, thank you for your time.